Hello.
Oh my God. Okay, I fixed it. Cool. Sweet.
Nice.
What's up? How are
How's it
you?
going?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Just hanging out. Busy, busy. It's
I had
getting
to,
close to the weekend.
I know, thank God. I had to close out
I
of the live,
know.
previous live, even though there was people in there because I panicked. I hit the wrong button and I sent out invites to a bunch of random people, and then somebody random tried to join as a co-host, and I was like, I don't have I just panicked. I was like, I don't have the social stamina to talk to somebody I don't know right now.
That's so
I was
funny.
like, I'm
You know,
closing this.
it's it's a great question you asked about like what's the incentive to do this versus and the only thing I can think of is like if there are two really big creators maybe and like one of
Yeah.
them because the host is like who gets like I don't know the rewards and stuff. we
Oh,
we
that's
do it
true.
and it's like what like 5 cents or like 1 cent or something that comes
Yeah,
through. But I imagine if you have like 100,000 people and there's two of you,
that's
you
true.
both like you're maybe trying to get your own. I don't know.
I just got a
I imagine.
notification too. They're trying to do more of the gamification stuff in here too, and that stuff I don't know. It makes me feel like I'm watching brain rot when I see people doing like hit the button, hit the button, hit the button, and I just like cannot bring myself to do that. See, like what is this
Yeah,
match invite?
that's what I'm saying. I just
Ah,
clicked the button.
oh.
But I. Oh my god. Oh no. Are we playing?
I feel like this
What are we
means we're wait,
playing?
but what? Wait, what? Okay, I'm getting more points when I'm talking. Is that why I get? What do I get points for doing?
I don't know if like people have to tap you to get points. Is this like a tappity tap? One
Oh,
of
I bet
those
it's a tappy
games?
tap. But that's what I'm saying. That stuff makes me feel like brain rot. I hate
It
it.
is brain rot. It is brain rot. And I see it like so this is what this is because I see this sometimes in live. And I'm like, what are these guys doing? And they're just and it doesn't even seem like they're talking to each other half the time. It's just like they're both just talking.
They're just like
And it's
screaming on top of each other. Yeah,
yeah,
I bet you that it's
yeah.
this kind of shit. I bet you that's why they're doing it.
Yeah, it's so weird. Hey Sinaha, yeah, yeah. We're good now. But we can't see each other's chat this way, so maybe we should do it the
Oh yeah, that's the only. I know. I like having the community chat because I've got. Yeah, I can't
yeah.
see her comment. Should we try?
Let's
You
do
want?
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's do that until we figure out a good reason to use this mode. I'm sure we can figure
love it.
out a good reason to use this mode sometime. Okay, I'm gonna leave and then invite me.
Cool.
All right.
I wish I had like a button that I could just put music on. Do do do. Here we go. Arya, I was saying I need hold music.
Hold like elevator music. Yeah,
Yeah, like elevator music while I'm waiting. What are you up
that'd
to
be
tonight?
awesome.
Clearly nothing exciting considering we decided to just last minute get on live.
Yeah, yeah. I have like something exciting coming up that I'm gonna like talk to people about. I talked to you about it, obviously. So just like planning around that. Got a couple announcements I'm gonna make soon. But I've honestly today I had a lot of work to do early in the day, and I've pretty much done nothing since then.
Oh
Like it
my
was
god,
actually
me
really nice.
too.
I think I posted one or two things on TikTok like Gaza related because that the whole Gaza thing is like really heating up.
Yeah, you want to talk
Um,
about that a little bit?
yeah, I don't mind at all. So,
What's the
man, where to
latest
start?
today?
So,
I haven't seen the new. I haven't
well,
like seen anything today.
well, the big deal right now is the UN General Assembly is in town, and they come through every year. They'll have like big speeches. They'll usually have like a big talk with all the veto powers are there. All the big boys are there. And this year, the topic is Gaza and Israel. So, the UN Security Council is held in New York. And right away, there was like drama. They did not let Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian Authority, we didn't give him a visa to even come, which is like kind of a slap in the face and petty. He's not even popular with the Palestinians. That's a whole other conversation we can talk about later. But it's just kind of, he's one of the main people here in the whole. and
Yeah.
we're not allowing him to come straight to the Security Council and the General Assembly and talk to us. So
Where's it
there's a little bit of
happening? New
drama from
York, DC.
there. That's New York. Yep, New
Okay.
York City. hmm and then and we've let like North, we've let like we let Gaddafi in here. We've let like Iranian leaders in here. We let all kinds of people in here for New York for the UN General Assembly because it's the UN. You know,
Right.
that's like the global body, right? So we let everyone there. The massive speeches happen there. And then just to not take anyone's time, basically, France, UK, Australia, and Canada have all formally recognized Palestine as a country. Now, this is my expertise is in foreign, foreign politics. I went to school. I got my master's in international politics. So this is a conflict that I know about a lot. Even though I don't talk about it a lot, I try to stick New Hampshire local stuff. But this is in my lifetime the craziest movement we've seen internationally. As in, you're talking those four countries are the four biggest American allies outside of Israel, right? So, and these are rubber stamp countries, right? Like they rubber stamp everything that we do. We invade Iraq. Those four countries are the first four countries to be like, we're in. You know, like they don't say no to us. And this is the first time they're saying no. And it brings the countries to like 157 out of 193 total UN countries now recognize Palestine. Now, as all that's going on, there is a humanitarian flotilla on its way to Gaza. This is the third flotilla this year, I think. Second or third.
I think
There was a
third.
very
Yeah.
third. The last one was the very famous one, was the one with Greta Thunberg was on it, and a few other very big influencers were on that. And they ended up, I think the only African American guy, they ended up like pulling him and like actually torture, like beating him in prison or something at one point, like the IDF did.
I saw that
They
too.
they shot explosives off their drones, and they're doing that again on the third flotilla. Now the difference this time is Italy and Spain have sent warships to defend the flotilla. So this is if okay. So again, I'm a history nerd, international politics nerd. Um, I wasn't alive for JFK, but those moments where in Cuba, where you had the Cuban Missile Crisis and things were like very close, and all it took was like, all it would take is like one mistake, one stupid 18-year-old soldier, like something stupid happening, right? Because everything's on a tinderbox, everything's hot, and once you get militaries involved, it gets even hotter. So that it's a lot going on in like a few days in a short period of time.
Yeah. How does that? I've been following the flotilla stuff, and it's definitely
hmm
like it feels. I'm coming in much more uneducated on the topic, but to me, it feels like, oh, this is like a holy shit moment. And like to your point, obviously, like one mistaken thing, like it does feel like a kind of very very high stakes moment that we're in.
Yeah, and to show you how much pressure. I mean, okay, so Italy, which has sent a ship, is not one of the countries that has formally recognized Palestine. Italy is rioting right now. The entire country is like pretty much shut down right now. They're not taking, because what Maloney, the PM of Italy, Francesca Maloney, I think her name is. She said that the only way Italy will formally recognize Palestine is if Hamas releases all the hostages. And this is just it's a very played out talking point now that has been repeated a lot. And even Israel has said if they release all the hostages, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep going in there. It was never about the hostages. For a group of us, that was our belief. Israel has actually, again, this is confirmed. I don't want anyone to think I'm spreading propaganda. It's been confirmed for a while, but Israel um, has been responsible for more Israeli hostage deaths in Gaza than Hamas has through friendly fire. They won't talk about that, but it's one of those things where they've had many opportunities to negotiate for these hostages, and every time it seems like they don't want to negotiate.
So
They
you're
don't
saying
want.
too that there's like a misalignment in Italy and obviously a lot of other countries between what the leadership and the political offices are saying versus what the people are thinking. Obviously, considering Italy sort of shut down their whole country in a matter of days, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it started with a dock worker threat. The dock workers knew about the flotillas, the past flotillas, and the dock workers had pretty much threatened if anything happens to these flotillas, we shut down the docks. Italian docks, extremely important for all kinds of commerce. I mean, they're right in the middle of everything, right? Africa, Europe, like so. They deal with a lot of the migrant crisis. They EU depends on Italy big time. They're based on their geographical location. So I think Maloney is again. Maloney comes from Maloney comes from like a fascistic background too. Officially, I mean, she comes from like I don't like the political organization that she used to be a part of or was a big part of was actually born from like an old fascist party. And Italy invented fascism pretty much. Um, so she's under a weird spot. She's in a weird spot right now. She's under pressure in Italy, and Spain has always been on the. Spain was one of the first countries that was on the right side of the issue, I think, in Europe. But it's the other countries flipping that is like the really big deal, I think. And the fact that they're there protecting this flotilla, it tells us that we are gonna get we are going to get somewhere here, like with what because there is there's going to be a moment where that flotilla reaches the IDF drones and the warships, and again, that's that kind of like Cuban Missile Crisis moment, right? Like, hopefully, everyone's cool, everyone's chill. You don't want to hear that like flotilla got fired on mistakenly by a drone or something, or on purpose. It's a very fragile situation. And if anything happens to the Italian ships, which are there are Italian ships there, Maloney will be under a lot of pressure to retaliate, to respond, like a lot of domestic pressure for sure.
yeah. Cindy was saying in the comments that apparently there's a rep from Newmarket who's on this flotilla. I don't know if you've heard about that, but somebody who's from New
Yeah.
Hampshire.
Actually, so State Rep Paige Boschman, she mentioned to me that she knew of a state rep that was on that flotilla. It must be the same exact one.
That's so interesting, and like that's so cool. But it's interesting that like we hadn't heard about that too, right? Like we're not hearing about this kind of stuff, and like that's a pretty
This
big deal.
this I could speak about like social media algorithms and the media algorithms and what they're trying to get us to watch and not to watch. But when Charlie Kirk died, you couldn't get away from that footage. You literally couldn't. It was being forced down our throats. But complete media blackout, first of all, in Gaza, because no journalists are even allowed in there, right? And whatever journalists go in there, they end up killing, like on live TV in broad daylight. So yeah, so it becomes the story, and this is why TikTok became so important for the US government, right? This is why TikTok we were wondering why TikTok was under threat, and the US government was making such a big deal about it, is because like it was one of the last avenues of really China didn't care. China's not gonna like shield us from the truth. China wants us to see that stuff, right? Whoever's building the algorithm is like, they're a lot more fair. They're not censoring the true news that's coming in. So there was the pro-Palestinian movement really got its legs from TikTok because we were getting that footage. We were getting uncensored footage. We were seeing more graphic stuff, sadly,
I mean, it's like
and
you could
you just
write a
can't get
TED
away from
talk
it.
on. Sorry, you could write a TED talk on like Bison and what she did, and like the amount of what those early sort of journalists in that first year, um, it was like so. I I think that's for those of us who are not big like international news followers. I think like those early reports kind of from them from the ground. It's like I think we all probably have images that we will always like be burned into our brains from currently as well too, but all the way back into like those first couple of months where just they were. I mean, the way that they just put themselves at risk to like get this footage and put this stuff online is really it's really powerful. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like so much of that took hold on TikTok.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one place that they didn't have like a stranglehold. And I don't know. I mean, I know like the talks now is like the algorithm's changing to American hands, and the guy like what, Larry Ellison's son or something. Oh, we'll see how that works. You know, it's very difficult to control an algorithm. Listen, Twitter has been trying to control. Twitter has been literally trying to control its AI. It can't get its AI to lie. You know, that the AI tells the truth. It literally, Elon Musk will tweet something, and someone will ask Grok, his AI, underneath his tweet, is this true? And it'll say no, it's not true. And Elon Musk can't get it to like lie. You know, so I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know how it's. I mean, it's beyond my pay grade. You know, but the algorithm is usually not one of those things you can really. It becomes really obvious when you're controlling it, or and people find good ways to get around it. When the protests were happening in like LA and DC, they were using like the music festival tag, right? And that's how they were getting around the algorithm and AI. So it's like a constant, it's a constant give and take.
It's definitely gotten worse, right? People always say that like the algorithm got notably worse in January after they turned this app off and turned it back online in the US. And I don't disagree, but there is still something that's like the TikTok algorithm is different than any other social media algorithm we've ever seen. And that's why this app has so much power, is because it's like it intuits what's happening in your subconscious. Whereas every other algorithm is like very literally basing off of your actions that you're taking on your device. TikTok, it really almost feels like it like anticipates what you want to see. It's like a freaky level, I feel, compared to the other social media algorithms. And so nothing even comes close. And everyone's like, oh, where are you going to go next after this? I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't creating short form videos before this. I don't know if I'll be creating short form videos after this. Like that, this was very much, it was almost like came onto this platform because of this algorithm. And so if the algorithm changes, I mean, then yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how all that plays out.
For sure. No, that's the reason I came here too, is to get more truth without being absolutely bashed by Nazis, which is what X is. As much as they're into free speech, you can have your own views on free speech and stuff, intolerance paradox or whatever, but I just think there's a lot of garbage there that you have to deal with to get the truth. And TikTok at least had a bit of moderation going on. Like,
are you still on?
It's better than nothing.
Or X?
I am. The beginnings of my political life were as a S poster on X. So like I will always be like a lurker on X, because that's where I got my beginnings. That's where I got battle tested. Really, that's where I really.
So funny. Same though. And like those are the people who are good at TikTok.
Feathers.
Are people that like were TikTok shit posters, because people
sure.
are like, how do you think of what to post? I'm like, I have never once sat down and been like, what should I post today? I'm just like, the shit just flows from my mouth and it just comes out to the internet.
Definitely. It's just like a lot of that's what it is. It's like it's almost like verbal diarrhea, but it's a little bit more controlled and chiseled than the average person's. Again, it's like it's battle tested, and people bring it up in my videos. They're like, I don't know how you can stay calm, and like I don't know how you can respond like that, like when they're and I'm just like, oh man, like if you could just if I could just show you just a reel of the things that I have seen on the internet, the things I've been called on and oh my God, like I'm just thinking of like a lifetime reel of being on the internet, all the things you've been called, and it hardens you after a while. After a while, I don't even know what's real. Honestly, I mean, it's one of those things. I don't know if that person's real. I don't know if that person's a bot or like a shit, a sock account that's just stirring it up. This could be anything. So
yeah, it's so true. Like I think that I was very, very big on Twitter from like 2012 through 2017, 18, 19. I fully like got off though when Elon bought it, because it was like pretty immediate that I feel like that Twitter fell to shit. Like within a year, it was like the app was unusable. And then it wasn't even the benefit of Twitter, I always felt, was like being able to look at all the replies and see what other people were sort of adding to the conversation. And once they like futzed with the verification, it became completely unusable. But yeah, it does
Right.
harden you. Like I not only have I been posting for myself, but I'm a social media. Well, I started my career like as a social media manager, and so I have been community managing for big brands since like people. I've seen some horrific shit that people send to their just that the people used to tweet stuff just at their social media accounts with just pictures of horrific things. And then yeah, if you're women on the internet talking about Trump in 2016, people said some awful stuff. And now, yeah, now it's like it's probably a bot anyway, so who cares? Now it's almost it's a different
Right.
world now.
For
But that
sure. No, I mean,
regardless.
it was one of those things where me too. I mean, my usage on Twitter went down to an all-time low too. Before, I was very active posting on Twitter, and now, really, the only time I'll ever use it is if I need, like, I know I'm gonna take the good with the bad when I go there, and I'm going there for a very specific reason, and that's to get as uncensored of a take or details as I can. And I know along with that, there's going to be a lot of misinformation, right? So that's another part of being seasoned. Misinformation like thrives in a place like that.
Well,
And me
so
personally, like I just think internet's just not to go on a tangent. I just think the internet is the scariest place in the world right now. Seriously, I think it is a bigger threat to us than global warming or climate change, anything really. I think it's crazy.
which piece do you mean? Like which? That's a big the internet. Yeah, like I agree
Yeah,
with you,
yeah.
but in
Sorry.
like 12 different
I should
ways.
break. Yeah, I should break that down. It is so it is an unregulated forum that if it was a true town square, that's another thing. But it's controlled by the people that are our enemies, right? Like the few richest people on the planet, and the only thing that they want to do is get more rich, right? That's the only thing they care about. That's the only thing they care about in the algorithm. That's why it's so scary. You see Elon swoop in, buy Twitter, it loses half of its value. He doesn't care because the long term work of taking over Twitter is like now he has taken out a whole pillar of like truth, right? Fact checking, of criticism. He now controls that megaphone. And for me, things like fascism, things like misinformation, again, a lie will travel around the world a whole bunch of times before the truth hits you. And we saw that with Gaza and Israel. And again, I go back to that as like the truth of what happened on October 7th was terrible. The truth was terrible. You don't need to add any emotional cursors. You don't need to, there's a whole, without repeating I don't want to trigger anyone, but like, all the baby stuff that they were saying, remember there was a lot of baby talk, right? There's a reason why you talk about babies, like it gets us emotional. And again, if you're a student of history, I'm going to drop something on you guys. When we invaded Iraq under the first Bush, and the reasoning was because Kuwait was dangerous, and because Iraq had decided to invade Kuwait originally. We were going to go and defend Kuwait, right? The way Iraq got consent to go into Kuwait was they literally used the same lies. Babies in, babies, those lies, which is, again, it's a visceral thing, right? Those lies, by the time there were any retractions, that is seared into your consciousness. You can't forget it. Some people will never believe the retraction even. And it's like you have basically gained the consent to go genocide a whole group of people there overnight, right? Like,
That's the stuff that like really freaks me out once I start thinking about it. And like candidly, that's part of like why I've just been like off the internet for the last week is I've just been kind of like processing a lot of this stuff and like how long this stuff has been happening and like how much of my worldview was like shaped by misinformation. And I think it's like I don't know, we give the people on the right a hard time and we're like, wake up. But like I think we're all doing our own forms of like unlearning at whatever level. And
mm,
it's hard when you're kind of like reality shakes, right? When you like really look back
Absolutely.
at that time of like I was a child, right? Like I was and it's and you look back and you're like, wow, that was completely there was a lot incorrect in the narrative that we were presented growing up, and so it's been kind of challenging to like wrap my head around that.
Think you see it throughout our educational system too. I mean, like they told us Thanksgiving was like a celebration. Right? Like
Yeah.
that was like they made it like there was like a big what an amazing thing. What an amazing time like the Native Americans and the conquerors all sat together and had dinner together. What a beautiful thing. Or again, I made a post about this. We learned more about Robert E. Lee than we did John Brown.
Yeah.
When you talk about John Brown, I mean, is that
Talk
the
about John
greatest
Brown.
white man?
There people here might not know.
I mean, I don't want to talk about John Brown like I know all the details because I am now becoming an expert of John Brown. I'm now slowly becoming like this man was the goat, the goated white man. You know, like he was the radical slave. He went and killed a bunch of slave owners. You know, and other white guys. A white man killing other white guys, which was unheard of at the time. You know, it was just and people were terrified of him. His like his aura, he was like one of those guys where it's like the story, it's like I don't know who to relate it to for a sports fan. It's like Bo Jackson. I don't know if you remember Bo Jackson. He was like he was a player that played two sports and he was really good at both sports, professional sports. And there's this whole story about Bo Jackson where like the stories about him have gotten crazier and crazier over time. Like this guy used to, you know, he climbed a wall that's 1,000 feet high and jumped 6 horses in the middle of a baseball game. Like it's kind of like the aura keeps spreading about this guy. And it's the same thing with John Brown. Mm-hmm. And again, where are the statues of John Brown? I mean, this guy is like single-handedly might have had more to do with the Civil War than any of the generals that we learned about, right? So it's all about what they want to teach you, what they they want you to know, what is powerful and stuff. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, not at all. It's like, and then it's like you say that, and there's still a part of my brain, and just you. This is just two friends having like a very honest conversation. There's part of my brain that's like, oh, that sounds crazy, like that sounds paranoid, right? But then but I'm like I'm accepting all of these things as true now because I understand, and it's kind of like you just keep pulling on the string and more keeps coming out, and it's just kind of like a really crazy moment in history all while we're seeing this stuff play out, like we were just talking about, while we're literally watching updates on the flotilla and what's all these other countries that are joining the flotilla, and it's just it just feels like we're in like a really weird moment, Arya.
I would say it's one of those moments where if you have any, again, I don't want to scare anyone here, right? But if you have very good pattern recognition or your expertise is authoritarianism or fascism or Holocausts, they've made up their minds a long time ago. All of them made up. A lot of the fascist historians left America. And
like
again,
in
I don't.
January.
Right. So I don't like. Those are the guys, right? Like those are the people. When I say guy, those are the people that are giving us. And again, the people that are the Holocaust experts are telling us that this is akin to that. People who are ethnic cleansing experts are. So again, there's a lot of interesting parallels going on, but at the same time, I want to give people hope too that like we never had the internet in those times. The internet, as much as it can be a tool, which I think is a very dangerous tool, it can really activate things like fascism, like techno-fascism.
Yeah.
I think capitalism will always turn to fascism before it turns to socialism. It's just like and we're seeing that. We're seeing the capitulation in real time, right? But we also smashed Disney in a short period of time.
Yeah.
Like indefinitely, really? Indefinitely? Is that what you said? That
was clearly not their plan to bring him back that quickly, right?
Yeah.
there is power in that. And that's, people keep talking, to go back to the social media conversation and the technocrats and all that, like, I really see us now, and like we're past social media's peak. I think like we're in the downfall of social media, like, to speak very, very broadly. Like, I think that there was a 10-year period where people just wanted to go online and like post stuff that they were talking about and thinking about. And I think that we have just seen it like rot out our brains. I think people are resistant to it. And I just kind of think that like we're going to see people removing themselves more and more from this web of not just social media, but like how we give Google access to everything in our lives, and Amazon Echo. Like, I've taken all the Echo products out of my house at this point, like all those types of things. I'm like, I don't need that shit listening to me anymore. So I think we're also like culturally starting to like unwind ourselves and realizing how much we've like interwoven our entire lives to be dependent on these big tech companies. And it's just like icky now when you look on it. I feel like somebody turned the lights on at the club right now, and we're all looking around like, oh my God, ew, like, what am I doing? Why, and, which is ironic that we're having this conversation here, but like, to your point, I think the best of it is the local stuff, right? Like, I think the best of what we have at this point is like finding ways to connect, using these apps to connect with the people that are near us, because those are the folks we're going to need to like rely on, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I think it's a very understated and very important point. And for me personally, I can tell you it's what grounds me when times get really hard for me, like psychologically, or I feel like I'm losing hope, or again, like the system is designed to make us feel a certain way, right? It's all about capitalism. The algorithm is designed to make us just keep watching, keep doom scrolling, keep clicking. That's what it's designed to do, and it's designed to piss us off. That's the other thing, right? Like, there are plenty of documentaries by now on it about how psychologists designed all of these social media websites and how they figured out pretty much it's negative interactions that drive interactions, right? It's when you get pissed off, it's when you get bothered. What happens is, I used to wake up in the morning, used to sit on the toilet, first thing I would see is the thing that would totally piss me off, and there it goes, my whole day. Starting at 8 a.m., I'm in fight or flight. 5 minutes into my day, because I saw like Joe Schmo talk about ivermectin on fucking Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, and that will just put me into fight or flight for like the whole day. Right?
I remember having to detangle myself from opening Twitter the first thing in the morning during the first Trump presidency. It was like every morning I would be like, what is it with North Korea now? What's going on? That's what it like, crazy. Such a bad thing to do to your body, your nervous system.
For sure. Absolutely. No, I mean, it's, and so the crazy thing is, right, we are in a crazy, and again, I don't want to get too bogged up into this, but we are like in a crazy time period when it comes to like the history of the internet. And because like my generation, your generation, like I was definitely the last of the generations to leave high school without having, like, most of us didn't have cell phones. Facebook wasn't a thing. I tell people, like, a trivia question, I was one of the first 5,000 people to sign up for Facebook, like when it was just for college students. Back then? It was on it. You know what it was back then? It was even before it turned into like a hot or not thing. It was truly a website for students, like to meet with like study buddies, share notes, share, people would use it to like share test answers and stuff like that. But it was really meant for students. You had to have an EDU address to sign up for it. It wasn't like public for everyone. And then they realized it would make a lot of money, but
and that's when it got to
but yeah, we don't know what this is going to do to the kid, what's doing to the kids right now, right? And like that fight or flight rewires our brains. My brain at 40 years old is constantly, so what is it doing to a 16-year-old girl?
Dude,
what is it doing to a 15-year-old boy? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
There's a really good documentary on Hulu, and I'm gonna have to look up the name, but basically where it follows a group of high school students from the time that they're like 15, 16 through when they go to college, and they get access to their phone, so you can see while they're like having a conversation with their sister what they're texting about and like they're fighting with their boyfriend or whatever. And it was like fascinating. They basically filmed it from like, I think it was like maybe 2020 through 2023 or 24 or something like that. So it's all very recent and it's all inclusive of like TikTok and stuff like that. And my husband and I watched it, and I think it's such a good watch for people with kids too, but everybody, just to see how the ways that this technology is impacting these kids and the choices that they're making and how grown it makes them so young. I think that's the biggest thing for me watching was like this 15-year-old girl was like looking at younger kids and she was like, oh, I miss being like a kid. That was so long ago. And I'm like, girl, you're like 13. But she felt like so old because she was entrenched in this like stuff that she just was too old, too young to be kind of part of. But anyway, it really got me thinking just about how significantly different every element of their life is than it was when we were in school. Like every single element of socializing and learning, and it's all impacted. And I'm scared.
100%.
I got a 3-year-old and she's gonna live in my house forever.
Yeah, I mean I feel for parents, like newer parents who are like, you're gonna have to navigate this, and how do you navigate it? I'm sure there are good reasons to put your kid in front of a screen sometimes. I'm sure there are educational reasons that we never got, we never got to read, learn a whole lesson on a electronic tablet, so I think good parents are able to do it correctly. I have no doubt that you'll be able to kind of navigate that correctly. And again, it's just people that don't know. And just to connect this to what's happening today, again, I don't know, how can I put this? On Fox News, right, when after Charlie Kirk, they're spending millions of dollars on boomer news reporters trying to decipher what the writing on these bullets are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, bulge. Like things like, if you read this, you're gay, LMAO. It's like, this dude is trolling all of us. It means nothing. It is Joker. It's Joker reincarnate. And the only way you would know that is if you lived at some point in that culture, and I come from a gaming culture. I am terminally online. That's what they call it. I am chronically online. I know who, Charlie Kirk is. I know who, the Groypers are. These are new terms for normies. They don't understand. And that's why it's so important to regulate the internet, or at least regulate your children, because that's what the boys are watching. They're watching Nicholas Fuentes. They're watching red pill content because it's easy to give them the electronics and not deal with it, but they're going to find a way, right? It's designed for them to find it, for sure.
Yeah, and it's so hard now. I have this conversation with a lot of my mom friends who have boys, especially, about like, this wasn't really a thing. Worrying about red pill content with boys wasn't really a thing when I was in high school or when I was in school. And so like thinking about how do we tackle that? How do we get ahead of that? And it's so segmented now. So we're all so culturally fractured, right? Where me and Frank have this conversation all the time where we say that we have different internets because my internet looks different than his. And 10 years ago, 8 years ago, it wasn't like that, where we would ultimately still have the same internet, right? And we would see different flavors, sure. Right? I'd see more Taylor Swift and whatever. But the the two genders, Taylor Swift and Paul McCartney, those are our two internets. But now it's so deeply fractured that like we don't have any kind of common jokes even anymore. And so I remember even like when you're talking about the bullets and the conversation around the bullets and what it was said, I think at first some people were like, oh, it's a joke, but they didn't realize like how many layers of meme were being referenced in these bullets, right? We're talking about like 4 layers of meaning, right? And so you have to have all this context. It's crazy. It's like the internet has gotten so segmented, and it's part of this, right, where it's not just like left or right, it's like all these kind of factions now that are like, as a parent is crazy, and then just as a person existing on the internet is also crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some would call this horseshoe theory, right? Which is like there
Mm,
that left or right like doesn't really matter. Like, and this is my reflex after Charlie Kirk got shot was that it doesn't matter who shot him. Whoever shot him is suffering, probably like Occam's razor is probably suffering from mental health issues, is being ignored, is instead they're pumping him with fear and hate on Fox News in the middle of Utah. You know what I'm saying? Like I could tell you what this story is. You don't have to tell me if he was a Democratic voter, a Republican voter. It means nothing to me.
yeah.
You know, like so I think people get caught up in these things and then
Yeah.
they try to explore it and then they see like groypers. What are groypers? And like there is a far right, even a more far right than the current right. And they learn about nuance for the first time in their lives, I guess. And these things are important. Again, I talk about normies tongue in cheek because I had to like the conversations I had to have with like my dad the past week about Charlie Kirk and who I wish I could have recorded those conversations, the terms and these like him trying to like watching the gears in his head as I'm trying to explain what like Bella Chow comes from on like one of the bullets and like die fascist. And right away he's thinking, oh yeah, guys are from the left. Obviously, we hate fascists. Yeah, it makes sense the way he says it. It makes sense. It's the boomer mentality, right? And it's like again, if you haven't been chronically online, I consider you lucky, but it's one tool right now that is lacking in global analysis. And this is going to be, again, if you were to like, if you put me up against it and made me like make a projection, these are what like the shooters are going to look like now. They're going to be like apolitical. They're going to be shit posters, trollers. You guys that have been living in Discord servers for the past like 20, 25 years, right? Like those types of people. And there's going to be a little bit of a headache in trying to figure out who these people are. And the issue is social media and going back to this, they're going to just spread whatever. They tried to get us to believe the Charlie Kirk shooter was everything but what he actually was. It was like literally like they were calling like the gun trans, like the bullets were trans or something. Like that's how far Kash Patel was going with that. They were so desperate to make it. And the thing is, you're not immune to heated political temperature in the country when a lot of the people that are feeling it are working class. Like working class people are all feeling it. It doesn't matter who they voted for. A lot of them were tricked, the ones that voted for, the fake populist, but it doesn't change the fact that they're suffering and they're being told actively without democratic resistance. They're being told every day that there are people in this country that hate them, that it's them. They're the ones that are coming to get them. There's literally troops going into every state. And I still have conservatives in my mentions being like, you guys are fascists. You guys want to, make the government do what you want. And at that point, I'm not sure. It's not worth having that conversation anymore. I'm not sure what to say. It's like the cognitive dissonance is like God tier at that point.
That's part of why I hope that we are just moving towards a more offline world. Is I think that things have just hit like a fever pitch with some of this stuff that like it can't possibly. I don't want to say it can't possibly get worse, but like my point is, it's like the toxicity is so obvious, and I think we all see, not we all, but a lot of us see it. I'm at least like being very aware now of how it's like impacting me. But how do you think about it specifically from like the male perspective? Like you brought up, all these pew pewers are going to look like, these gamers now. Like what's the solve for somebody, right? Like as you're kind of coming from that community, have you thought about like, what does the path of this look like?
Let me tell you, that community is tilted very right wing. Just to start, it is tilted like very conservative, and I've always been a leftist. I was a liberal for most of my life, I guess, and recently have kind of been more to the left. And I always felt out of place in internet culture. I always felt, and even though I was like most of my friends, most of my peers, they were on Reddit, they were on Discord, They were on like these gaming sites that they talk about. Steam. I'm sure you're hearing some names now you've never heard before, like Steam and I don't know, like there's another GOG. Steam is like, that's where, if you're still playing computer games, Steam is like the Spotify of computer games. Think that it's like where all the big games release their games. You can go pay like a membership, you can go pay for the game outright, and it's all comes from that one central hub. So that's what Steam is. And there's other things like that too, but they're kind of micro, you know. Congress is like, oh, we're going to invest, like Twitch. They're talking about Twitch now, right? Which is like, these places are, Twitch is moderated. Like Twitch, you can't go on there and say any Nazi stuff. You can't go on there and say any genocidal stuff. They will, I mean, it's owned by Amazon. Amazon is not going to like mess around that way. But Kick, right? And I don't know if you've heard of Kick. Kick is kind of like the, I guess, the free speech, right-wing grifting version of Twitch, which they allow a lot more stuff, but they take advantage of people. You know, they get kids to gamble. They get kids to use Bitcoin on gambling, on crypto, right? They get some of the most right-wing personalities there. That's a pipeline to get boys and men. And for me personally, again, I can only speak for myself. I got really lucky that I had so many loving people around me that, again, like when I did not have a good high school experience. A lot of people didn't. I understand that. I got bullied a lot. At least when I left high school was over, right? It wasn't like Facebook was chasing me home, right? It wasn't like Twitter was chasing me home.
So true.
And I think that was the part that it allowed me to adapt. It allowed me to rest. It allowed me to like let my angst like settle. And again, like I didn't have the internet when I wanted to socialize with like women, you know, like I had to go and fail. Like you know what I'm saying? Face. Yeah, like and it sucks. Rejection sucks. It still sucks. I still don't like doing it, but it's the only way. And again, you do it enough. It goes with anything, right? You do it enough, you get used to it. That to me is so important to the human experience. Uncomfortability, being able to deal with growing pains without throwing a tantrum, right? Without like you go back to the drawing board, you like try to calculate what's going on. Well, maybe I could be in better shape. You know, maybe I could smell a little bit better. You know, or maybe I could, you know, be a little bit more educated on things. Maybe I could be kinder. These are not, you know, you test these things out and you grow from them. And I feel like the internet has given people, without, again, going on a tangent, it's given people a place to kind of run into their corners without dealing with the uncomfortability of growth, of adapting, learning, growing new skills. Again, one of my competitors, I always hung out with really good-looking guys. Like my friends were always just like aesthetically pleasing guys, and I had to develop some game to exist around these people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's tough. Absolutely. It's a tough environment. Or I got to back out, and I liked being around them, right? Like I liked it when they liked me around. They took me to some really cool places, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I got to grow some new skills to be invited to these places, right? Or to that, and I hate to break it down like that, but that's really what it is. Like it's a gamer mentality to life, right? You're like building experience. You're learning something new every time. You're trying something new every time.
Yeah. Have you, this reminded me of, have you seen that trend about the alt-left pipeline guys? With the guys
yes,
on your feet?
I was thinking about posting something.
I was waiting for you to do it. I was like, oh my God, this is Arya's name written all over it. This is so
I was
funny.
like, these guys all have really big muscles though, man. Like, what the hell?
I saw a nice man.
That personality.
I saw a nice man working on pottery today, and he was like, I'm not ripped like the other guys, but like, you know, here's my sticker collection of all the politicians I supported. I was like, all right, buddy. I love that. But I think that there's something there, right? It's like, I think a lot of times, like, men on the left don't want to be seen as, like, being performative, maybe. I think there's something, you know, when I'm, like, watching these videos and I'm kind of hearing what they're saying, I think sometimes men, it's kind of like the meme format is giving them permission to kind of say things that they otherwise might feel a little bit weird bringing up unprompted. And so it's been kind of fun to watch, but it is... I also reposted something today of a woman being like, guys, like, do this. Like, the male loneliness epidemic is not a thing on the left in the same way that it is on the right. Like, just be fucking nice dudes. Like, just be nice and care about civil rights. And like, that's kind of, you're already at a much better starting point to begin with. So I look forward to seeing your submission later this weekend.
You got it. No pressure. No pressure at all.
Are you coming to the live show this week? Next week?
Yeah. How could I not?
Now's a good segue. You know, if people are gonna meet in person, you know, just
absolutely. I mean, I think. Listen, that event was amazing. The first one that I went to that you guys threw. I got to all these personalities that I've been interacting with online on like a daily basis, and some of them on first name basis now, and like all of a sudden we're in person and we're all laughing, we're in one spot, and it really I can't explain. That was the first time I think experienced something like that in that way, where I built a community. I have gamer friends that I've kept in touch with for like my best friend in the world I've never met before.
Oh, wow.
All my other friends are real life friends, but the guy I talk to every day without fail online through Hangouts, we don't video game much anymore, but we talk about political life or on the same side of the political field. And I just feel like that was the first time I built a community or like, you know, met some people online, and then I put a face to them, and it just feels so much, there's something to it when you're in the presence of people. There's an energy, it's palpable, it's addicting, it's contagious, you know, and it got me really excited. I really pushed myself to go. I'm a social butterfly, but I'm like, you know, like it's a drive. I don't know if I'm in the, and then I was so happy that I went because it just opened the door for so many things, and it just made me feel less alone in what I was trying to do. So I appreciate it so much. And I'm going to go to every one that you throw if I can, if I'm around. I'm going to be there because it meant a lot to me.
Well, thank you for saying that. That is so nice. It's, you know, we're talking about, I have a live show for my podcast called One Quick Thing coming up on Tuesday. Cindy, good to see you. Yes, we will.
But I will be masked. Yeah,
we will be putting on masks too. We also, a bunch of us got COVID last time. It was not great. Not ideal. But yeah, so we're going to do a live podcast in Dover on Tuesday night. If you're around and would like to join, the RSVP link is in my bio. But yeah, really the goal is just like trying to get people, I don't know, I think we need to like get in rooms together and have fun and laugh more often and like just be in community. And so the idea is like, we've got a show, we do a little podcast, you can watch the show. If you want to leave after that and not talk to anybody, you are absolutely welcome to do so. But if you want to stay and hang out, it just is a really cool group of people who all kind of give a shit about what's happening. So, Bridget, people give you COVID next month. Yeah, it's next. We'll have one in October. I think it's October 28th or something. It's the last Tuesday of the month that we're going to do them. So, I'm excited. But yeah, that was fun for me too. It's so cool to be able to see the people that we've connected with and like just solidify kind of connections with folks, because being around younger people, that's so funny. Yeah. I mean, but that said, like we're also, we're very inclusive for any age and any age. But yeah, it's nice to be able to get people together in person because I feel like ever since sort of the onset of COVID, it's like it's a new appreciation for being around people and the energy. And yeah, it's like that first 6 months of the year, like, I don't know. I feel like I figured it out. I was figuring it out this year, like what's going on in New Hampshire, what is even like, who are any of these people? And so the fact that like we've got all these people in a room that give a shit is like very nice to be around, because I think a lot of people can feel very isolated in moments like this. I do. We're not solitary creatures, man. You know, like we're not. Like I absolutely, I know some people have like shorter social batteries than others. That's what I like to say. Like they need a bigger charge or whatever. But I think like there's a reason why studies have shown people aren't as healthy when they're alone, you know, when they, you know, age alone and age without a partner, which is, you know, it's, I think there's something to be said about that. And I think like both my sets of grandparents, like the same thing. Like they were together for like decades. And when one of them passed, the other one passed almost within, and from healthy, you know, like, so it's like
So I've seen it anecdotally too, honestly. And I just think I get an energy absolutely when I'm in a room full of people that are feeling the kind of momentum I'm feeling, are feeling the kind of change. When I see people like the compliments I get online, when people come up to me in real life, like in it happened in Concord, like during the Labor Day, which it doesn't happen. I don't have that many followers, but like a few people coming up and being like, and they're talking to me like as if I have been in, I'm like a voice in New Hampshire politics for like the past half a decade or something. But I'm like, nah, man, I'm new too. Anyone can do it. Just like pick a topic, come and meet someone, meet other people who are doing the same thing. It'll
There's
get you
no
excited about
application
it.
process. Just start.
No,
Nobody
it's feeling
vetted
less
us.
lonely. Yeah, it feels a lot. It just feels like the mountain just feels like a lot larger when you're climbing it alone, or when it feels like you're climbing it alone. That's the only thing I
Oh
think.
my God! Wait, Cindy, you're getting stopped in Aldi too. I got stopped in Aldi this week as well. That's so funny.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I think it
I
goes
gotta
to
go to
show,
Aldi.
right? Like, Cindy, you had like I remember a couple months ago being surprised at how few followers you had, but then I looked again recently and like you've been popping off, my friend.
Yeah,
and
you've been
like your
popping.
content is doing so you're like really working, you're really doing some good work. And I think it goes to show like how much that can be appreciated in such a like you can make a big difference. And that's the magic of TikTok algorithm, right? That like no other social media is able to do in the same way. That people are, because of the Swamp Mansion. I was wondering, I was like, hopefully it's not like haters coming up to you and all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But no, I think it's a good reminder that like we all can kind of start doing that and making a difference, and it's easy. There's a low barrier to entry here, which is nice.
Yeah,
Arya, speaking of social batteries, I'm
Yeah.
gonna introduce you to a concept me and Frank have, and it's called closing arguments. When I'm done talking or he's done talking, I'm like, okay, so I would like to wrap this up, and so I'm opening up the floor for closing arguments and any final words you would like to say today, Arya. What was that last point you were getting started on?
Oh man, you got me excited about the closing arguments. I totally forgot
It's a
what I
good
was
thought
saying.
technology. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, my closing arguments is oh no, I was just I'll give you guys a story as my closing arguments to give you guys some excitement about like getting involved if you haven't got involved yet. If we clip this somewhere, but when I was in college, when I was 19 years old, 19 or 20, and I had started my first nonprofit. And the nonprofit, I had worked with like another nonprofit. They helped me start it, and it was called the Free Iran Coalition. And the whole thing was about like freedom in Iran and democracy in Iran. And I had a volunteer, my first volunteer, and my volunteer was like, she was an 18-year-old, just turned 18. She's from Eastern, and she was terrified of the idea of just like going to protests, of showing up, just terrified, like thought like it was just, she couldn't even fathom the idea, and she doesn't have like social anxiety or anything. And she's like, can you come with me? Right? And I'm like, of course I'll come with you. Like, yeah, we'll go together. We went, and like when I tell you something clicked in her from there, she left my organization, went and started her own organization. She like did way more for like Arab rights than I could have ever done for Iranian rights in a shorter period of time. I'm pretty sure the last I checked, she got some kind of like international peace prize, not the Nobel Prize, but some type of international peace prize. She still hits me. She hits me up once, like through Facebook. She'll like hits me up once in a while, just like on my birthday or something. But that's how quick it can be. That's how easy it can, like someone might have the kind of like apprehension, the nervousness. And whenever I go to a big protest, I'll do a post saying like, if you're nervous about going, hit me up. Like, let's go. You can come with me, or like anyone, my cousins, family, whoever. And I just feel like people sometimes, they just need that. They need that like extra push, that extra holding their hand. And then you let them go. And she became, like I said, she became way bigger than I could have ever been.
That's
like, so
it's such an important reminder of like ripple effects too. Like you just don't know. Like something might seem like small to you or like, oh, I'm not doing anything, but you never know that like small actions you are taking right now that you are able to incorporate into your life, what impact those are having down the road. Like you just invited somebody, you just like offered to go to a protest with somebody, and that like set off this whole trajectory of like incredible things that happen in the world. And so like we all have power to create ripple effects like that as well. And I think that helps me like stay, that is motivating. Like it's like, fuck yeah, let's like, we can't just like give up because things, it's hard to visualize what the good future looks like. You know what I mean? Like there's so much good that we have to keep working towards because we don't know what's right around the corner.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better. Seriously. Yeah. Perfect. Closing arguments. I rest my case.
Awesome. Well, hey, it was good to talk to you. I just kind of like, I was like
too.
thinking about it tonight, and I was like, you know what? I also had an afternoon off, and so I like didn't exhaust my my normal people amount of talking that I can do in a day. And I was like, I kind of want to catch up with Arya. So it was good to chat with you.
I'm glad you brought it up. And honestly, like the thought of like, I know we were taking a break, but the thought of doing this casually and just like talking, like it was awesome. I'm glad we did it too. And I'm glad we got some people in here and got to say hi, because it's been like a week since we've talked to people. So
me too. It was good to just see the friends. Yeah. Thanks for coming out, guys. Sure. And good to talk to you, Arya. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.